What's up, refusers? Clark back from refusing2settle.com. Today I have a very special guest video. One of my friends, Aaron, is coming on this channel to talk about an awesome subject, reprogramming the wiring up here. I watched this whole video myself and got a lot out of it, so I thought I would share it with you here on this channel. All right, enough jibber jabber, let's get to the video. Aaron, back to you.
Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you the 3 most powerful techniques for reprogramming your subconscious mind. Now I believe that this video has the potential to really change your self-image and the way you see yourself, and also at the same time get to the core of what you believe to be true about yourself to then change everything that you experience in your life. Now Clark asked me to fill in for a video today for him, so I'm very excited to be here with you guys. And the question I had to myself is how can I add the most amount of value in just one video? So what I did was I went into my channel and I found some of the most potent information that I share, and I decided that what I would do is just put that in this video for you guys. So understanding that most of our life experience is ran by our subconscious mind. This is something that science has showed us. This is something that we've known for a while. But the idea is, what techniques can we use and what ways of seeing ourselves can completely change the whole experience so that it's something that's very practical and something that's very easy. So the first technique has to do with understanding that when we change our self-image, everything begins to change. Now, this means understanding and really being aware of what our self-image is, because our self-image is what is called a cybernetic mechanism. Now, cybernetic sounds like a very fancy word, but it simply means that however we view ourselves, we will do everything in our power to revert back to whatever that baseline is. Now, this comes from a book that's called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a book that was written about 40-50 years ago, and a lot of the basis of the teachings of Tony Robbins and other personal development teachers and leaders are based in the principles of this book. And it has to do with understanding that one of the strongest human desires there is to remain consistent to the way that we define ourselves. Now what this means is that any definition that we have that's tagged onto who we are, any label that we have that's tagged onto a part of just who we are, is going to be something that we do everything in our power to remain consistent to. Now, think of this in the form of maybe a smoker. Maybe someone smokes cigarettes, they want to quit, but they're finding it very hard. Well, the idea behind this is one way to practically apply it is to understand that we must drop being a smoker from our identity. See, if we're a smoker and we're trying to not smoke anymore, there's so much gravity that comes with that self-image that it's hard to change that. So we must start to view ourselves in a new way. We must not identify with being a smoker. We must realize that what we can do is we can tailor our environment to kind of in a way not influence that being a smoker. It could be that we go for a run every day. We start to work out more. And as we do those things, we start to see ourselves in a new way. And then smoking seems highly illogical and it seems like it's not a part of who we are anymore. Now, think of cybernetics and think of always going back to our baseline in the form of a thermostat. A thermostat in the house could be set at 75 degrees. And if the window opens or if it gets a little bit hotter or cooler, the idea is that the heater or the AC will turn on to bring it back to that base point. Our self-image is very similar in that way. We will always revert back to our base point unless we change our self-image. Now, this is something that I applied because for years growing up, I had what is called ADHD, which simply means that I had a lot of energy and that I didn't know how to balance it, and in class it was hard for me to pay attention. So I took Adderall for years, which is what the doctors prescribed, and Adderall would work, but the harsh side effects were you couldn't eat as much and you couldn't sleep as much. So after years of taking that, what I decided to do was to do my own research to see if I could come up with something a little bit different. And what I came up with was learning meditation. In meditation, there were no harsh side effects, and there was a lot of research that showed how brainwave coherence, there was a lot of research that showed how it increases concentration and focus. So what I decided to do was to try that. Now, I started within 3 or 4 days. I completely got rid of Adderall, but the more important thing that I learned was how to let go of the label of ADHD. Now, what I did was, as I simply reframed it, and instead of saying I have this condition, I have ADHD, is I simply reframed it and said to myself, I have a lot of energy, and what I have to learn how to do is to balance it. So what I did was meditate for the first 10-15 minutes of every day, and as I've done that, I haven't needed any external substance to put into my body to make me feel anyway. So it's something that's really changed the way I view myself, and at the same time changed my concentration levels and has allowed me to really let that go. Now, we can use this also in the same way when it comes to understanding how we can let go of limiting beliefs that we have about the kind of money we can make. Now, if we believe that we're only able to make maybe $50,000 a year, what happens is that's the only type of action we'll take towards that. That's the only kind of things and opportunities that we'll find in our life that equal making that $50,000 a year. So what I encourage you to do is to see yourself and to change your self-image to know that you can make more than whatever amount you're making per year. And that as you do that, you'll see new opportunities, you'll find yourself taking action in a new way, and then everything will begin to change. So to practically apply change in your self-image, the first step is to simply become aware of what your self-image is. As you start to see what your self-image is, you can decide to let go of what doesn't serve you anymore by realizing that you can then insert the new self-image that you prefer to have. You can develop behaviors around this new self-image, and that as you do that, the old behaviors will drop away and you'll start to take control of how you see yourself. Now, the second technique has to do with understanding that when we change our subconscious beliefs, everything begins to change. So I think that more powerful than just the law of attraction is understanding that our beliefs are creating our reality. Now, what this means is that rather than just focusing on a certain car that we want, if it's a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, and thinking about it over and over again, and even if we go into public and the RAS, the reticular activating system of our brain, our selective focus, sees more Lamborghinis or Ferraris, the idea is that unless we actually believe it is something that we can attain in our life, unless we actually back it up with taking massive action, we won't actually experience it to begin with. Now, the idea behind this is that most of our subconscious beliefs are formed between the ages of being born until about the age of 8 to 12. And the reason this is between those ages, we are in primarily what is called a theta state of brainwave activity. Now, when we are in a theta state, that is very close to the subconscious mind, and there is much more influence over it. So the idea is that growing up, we are absorbing our environment. We are absorbing the beliefs of our parents and our guardians and the people that are around us. And what we must learn to do is that we can go into past experiences, we can look at certain reference experiences we have, and we can simply let them go and then form new beliefs. Now, the idea behind this is most of our beliefs are on autopilot. We might have beliefs that say that money is very hard to get. We might have beliefs that say that money isn't a good thing. We have to con people to get money. When we start to look at these beliefs, we'll realize that they are rooted in a reference experience from our past. Now, the technique for this is to simply ask ourselves the question, what would I have to believe is true to be having that kind of experience? What memory do I have in my mind? What memory do I have in my past that is causing me to have this perspective? What will happen is the brain will then look for the answers, and as I find myself remembering past experiences, I can then simply decide that that no longer serves me, and then because it was on autopilot and now I'm conscious of it, I can simply decide to let it go, and I can insert a new belief. Now, from this point, what we do is we start to hardwire the belief by taking action, which could mean that we start to do things. We start to take action towards our goals. If we don't believe that we can do our passion for a living before because our parents were telling us how to live, or they wanted us to do X, XYZ in order to, be successful, and we can start to take action in that way. The more we do this, the more that we are rewiring ourselves for the way that we prefer to be, and the more that we're actually becoming the best version of ourselves. So the idea behind this is what we can do is understand if there are beliefs that we have about relationships. Maybe we always believed that we weren't worthy of having a certain type of girl in our life or a certain type of guy in our life. The idea is to become very aware of what our beliefs are about relationships. Was our parents in a certain way kind of modeling the way a relationship should work? Can we look at that and realize that it was on autopilot, but we can simply decide now to let it go, and we can start to have a worthiness about us. We can start to look at ourselves in a completely new way. When we get to the core of what we believe to be true and we change it, everything changes from the inside out, because we're getting to the source rather than trying to change the external. Now, the third technique has to do with a technique that I've shared before that is so powerful for influencing the subconscious mind, and it has to do with the 20 minutes before you go to bed at night and the 20 minutes right when you wake up in the morning. So remember, in the prior technique, I was talking about how when we grow up, we're primarily in a theta state until about the age of 8 to 12. The idea is that that is much closer to the subconscious mind. Now, the good part is that as we are going to bed at night, we are drifting from the awake brainwave states of being in an alpha beta state, and we're drifting into a theta delta state. And a theta state is where the subconscious mind is very impressionable. So the idea behind this is, as we are going to bed at night, what we can do is feel the emotions of already having that which we want to experience, feel the emotions of being the best version of ourselves, and as we begin to do that, that impresses our subconscious mind in a very powerful way. Now, the content from this technique comes from a book called The Feeling is the Secret, and it's all about understanding how we can tailor the last 20 minutes of our day, how we can embody the feeling and the self-image of us being the best version of ourselves, and how when we wake up in the morning, it leaks into every part of our day. So I encourage you to try this. Simply have the best version of yourself. Imagine you already being who you prefer to be. Imagine yourself with the kind of beliefs that you'll have to have. Imagine yourself modeling the body language of the best version of yourself. As you begin to do this, you will start to feel it and understand that the feeling is the language for which the subconscious mind speaks in. More so than just logically saying affirmations, if we're able to generate the feeling, we're getting much closer to the source, and we're much more powerful in impressing the subconscious mind. So all you have to do is remember that the 3 powerful techniques for reprogramming the subconscious mind has to do with changing the identity for the way we see ourselves, changing the self-image that we have, and as we begin to do that, everything begins to change. We'll start to see new opportunities. We'll start to see ourselves in a completely new way. And then secondly, what you can do is change the subconscious beliefs you have about who you are. All you have to do is ask yourself the question, what do I believe to be true about myself? And as you start to do that, you'll find certain reference experiences that come up. And as you see those reference experiences, you can reframe them, you can let them go, and you can start to wire in the new beliefs by taking action. And then thirdly, the 20 minutes before you go to bed every night, what you can do is feel the emotions of already being the kind of person you prefer. Have that self-image. Imagine the beliefs that you have. Imagine your body language. And as you do that, you'll find that you impress your subconscious mind in a very powerful way, and that doing this consistently, you will start to see results in your life. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to thank Clark for letting me share this information with you guys. The information on my channel is all about understanding how we can practically apply tools towards bridging the metaphysics and all this new information that's coming out with personal development and logical understandings that are very relatable. So it's kind of pulling at both worlds and making it something that we can actually apply. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. And other than that, you guys have a great day. Much love.
There you go, that's the video, guys. Again, go over support Aaron's channel if you liked it. There's tons more video stuff like this. Thanks again to Aaron for putting that video together while I was away on my big 7-week trip around the world. If you're not on Instagram following me, posted a lot of it, so I'll just put my handle right there, @ClarkDangerous. And I'm so excited. I vlogged the entire 49 days, the 9 countries we went to, you know, scuba diving in Bali, Tomorrowland, Iceland, Egypt, pyramids, just, I can't even believe it happened. I got back and I'm putting together the vlogs. There'll be 6 of them on that journey. So be sure you hit the bell notification on YouTube to get updated when those go live. I'll try to post as much as I can on social and keep you in the loop there. Also, I have a 3-part video series that I'm launching on how to start your own business that generates passive income. That seems to be a trend from the emails I've been getting from you all, is how do we start a business online in 2017? Like, there's so much noise floating on out there, or we can get in our own heads and we're a little stressed out about it. So I tried to simplify it down into a 3-part video series. Be sure you look for that. It'll be released most likely the next week or the following one. Thank you so much for your support over the years. Can't wait to crush this year with you. It's gonna be our biggest year yet. And until then, stop settling, start living. See ya.